Mrs. Neighbors was not the type of teacher who normally checks students' bags, but her duties forced her to do so. She knew she had no options left, so she checked every student's bag. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like, and share this video with your friends. She was well aware that all these backpacks contain basic school needs such as pencils, books, and snacks all messed up inside. She never found anything suspicious or to be curious about until one day a little girl seemed nervous and suspicious. Sometimes guards have found dangerous and risky objects that can be used to harm someone either inside schools or outside school. Unluckily, it is a must that the students and teachers should be highly attentive. Bag checks are quite usual and a part of the school routine in some schools. The reason is to keep up school and student discipline. Guards find nothing but harmless objects like smartphones or fidget spinners. Unfortunately, elementary school students have to undergo the same process as older students irrespective of their age. The reason is, according to the law, anyone has the ability to commit a crime. On one hand, that argument is true since there is no fault in being so careful. On the other hand, this bag-checking process has made some parents worry. They think that it would have a negative impact on kids, and they ask, will this accusation cause my kids to lose their innocence? Is innocence really have something to do with crimes? Indeed, no. Those who make laws and the security guards cannot be bothered about the innocence of children. They know what students are capable of, and that being on high alert is crucial. Most of the time, kids tend to bring dangerous and prohibited objects in the school with no intention of harming the other students or someone else. They just bring them to class to show off. But these objects can create accidents. In fact, after morning announcements, the teachers should check students' backpacks. Mrs. Neighbors did not imagine finding anything other than school supplies. Yet, this day turned out to be one of those days for Mrs. Neighbors. Student safety is the topmost priority for Jefferson Elementary School in Jefferson County, Georgia. To ensure the safety of students, checking bags is a part of the daily routine of the school. Mrs. Bobby Neighbor was a second-grade teacher. She believed that kids could be trusted depending on what they can and cannot bring to school on a particular day. She really did not feel the need to do it. She knew that there is nothing dangerous, and she did not check bags for the sake of extra safety. She just did it as it was her duty, and she trusted her students. At the same time, kids do not do it either. Yet, on this particular day, she felt that something is wrong. At this time, there was a book fair to be happening, and the kids were so excited about it. They knew that this book fair was going to be super fun, and they were eagerly waiting for that day. Irrespective of the age, both kids and teachers were interested in the book fair events as everyone in the school can enjoy the day. Mrs. Neighbors was busy with work, and that was why she could not check kids' bags. With the excitement for the book fair, the second-grade students were so distracted from their usual work, and on this particular day, Mrs. Neighbors had to struggle to make students focus, and thus they had to spend too much time on their daily routine. With all this fuss and the work Mrs. Neighbors had, she almost forgot to check kids' bags. She did not think checking bag was a big deal at the moment. They are kids, and how can they bring something to school other than a Nintendo PSP? No matter how much work Mrs. Neighbors had, she knew she should check the bags since it was her duty. Once she started checking bags, she noticed a little girl was getting nervous, and she knew that something was not okay. When she was about to check this little girl's bag, she saw that the bag was moving. How on earth a bag moves on its own? She had no idea about what was in the bag, so she had nothing else to do other than opening it. Mrs. Neighbors was a bit agitated since she did not know what this girl was hiding. She reached for the bag and opened it. She was amazed to see a pair of small eyes gazing at her. She was flabbergasted. The little girl was hiding a brown-colored puppy in her backpack. Bringing pets to school is risky as some kids were allergic to pets. Yet, Mrs. Neighbors did not want to punish the girl. Instead, she wanted to do something else. Above all, Mrs. Neighbors did not want to punish a little girl for bringing a puppy to the school. A second grader indeed did not know the repercussions of her actions. She had something else in her mind other than punishing the little girl. Mrs. Neighbors allowed each and every student to hold the puppy and pet him. When she took out the puppy, he became the star of the class, so every student got a chance to hold the puppy. Yet there was still one question. Mrs. Neighbors was worried about the puppy. She wanted to know where he came from. She asked the little girl, her identity is hidden for some obvious reasons, from where she got the puppy. The girl thought that she was in trouble for bringing a puppy to the schools. To save herself, she gave a humorous answer. "My mom must have put him in there." The kids were so excited to have a puppy in class, but Mrs. Neighbors had to do something. The puppy was behaving like a prince, but the whole class loved him endlessly. The little girl told that the name of the puppy was Jake. No matter how much the kids loved the puppy, Jake cannot stay in the classroom. So Mrs. Neighbors decided to send him home. She called the little girl's mother and explained the situation. She asked her to take the puppy home so that Jake can have his food. Yet before sending him home, Mrs. Neighbors wanted to do something. The book fair that everyone in the school was interested in was in need of a mascot. Since Mrs. Neighbors was struggling to find a mascot, she got a perfect idea. She decided Jake was the ideal mascot, as kids loved the puppy. Mrs. Neighbors made the slogan of the book fair as "Pause for a Good Book," and it really became a great hit. The mysterious moving object in the little girl's bag made the book fair extra exciting and beautiful.